began my illustrious career in journalism in the Bronx, where I toiled as a hard-boiled reporter for the RAM, Fordham University student newspaper. And one day I'm walking across campus toward the campus center, and out comes the elusive Dean McGowan, architect of a policy to replace Fordham's traditionally working to middle-class students with richer, more prestigious ones. So I grab my pen and my reporter's notebook, and I walk up to him, and I say, Dean McGowan, is it true that you plan to substantially raise Fordham's tuition above the inflation rate? And if so, wouldn't that be a betrayal of its mission? And Dean McGowan stops, looks at me, I look at him. I see the expression on his face, and it says, why does the peasant speak to me? And then out of the corner of my eye, there's a blur that becomes a figure wearing a Lone Ranger's mask and holding a cream pie, which becomes the guy standing next to me, mashing a cream pie in the dean's face, and then runs away. The dean is covered with cream. So I give him a moment. And then I say, Dean McGowan, would you care to comment on this latest attack? And he says, yeah, screw you. So I've got my scoop, and I run back to the newsroom. And I find the editor, Jim Dwyer. He's a big guy, he's a tough guy, he's a senior. He will go on to win a Pulitzer Prize, that's true. And I tell him what I've seen, and I pitch it as a story. And he goes, Dean McGowan, that guy's a dick, write it up. So I run to a desk, and I find a typewriter. And I start banging out my story, and I know it's good. And then I start to make it better by adding an element of embellishment. Now, journalists have a phrase for this. They call it making shit up. And they recommend against it, and that is correct. But I had just witnessed the unholy alliance of a dean's face and a cream-based pastry. So I had sort of lost my mind. So the first thing I do is I give the figure a name. I call him Pie Man, capital P, capital M. And I describe him as a mask-wearing, caped avenger. Although in fact, he had been capeless. And I say that as he exited the scene, he clicked his heels in rakish glee. And I gave him a catchphrase in Latin. Because if you go to a Catholic university and you have something important to say, you use a dead language. I said that as he exited the scene, he cried, ego sum non an bestia, which means I am not an animal, which makes no sense. I'd seen it in a movie. And so I finish my story and I bring it to Dwyer and he looks at it and he goes, Pie Man, I love it. Page 1. And that's how it started. A few days later, I get a letter. It says, Dear Jim, nice story, good details. If you want to see me in action again, be on the steps of Duane Library, Tuesday at 3 o'clock. Signed, Pie Man. And oh, I was there with a photographer from the RAM. And right around 3 o'clock, out from the library comes student body president Sheila Beale. Sheila was different than the rest of us flannel shirt wearing, part-time job working students. Sheila was well-bred. Sheila had school spirit. Sheila was the type of student that Dean McGowan wanted more of. And they had worked together to ban all outdoor drinking on campus, the infamous no more beer at barbecue rule. Because Sheila thought that drinking in public was in poor taste. And I think you know what happens next. Pie Man emerges from behind the late-night library drop box, makes his delivery, and flees. And as he flees, he cries, "Ego sum non ambitia." As I reported in my story in the Ram, next to a large photo of him running away with a cape flowing behind him as he did this. And that made him a sensation at Fordham. People dressed up like him at Halloween. They quoted him in class. The Ram ran 5 major stories about Pie Man, all of them by me. And at the end of the semester, I went to a bar off campus. And as I walked in, I noticed in the corner Angela from my Brit Lit class. And now Angela and I had been flirting for months. Or I had been flirting with her. And with such nuance that there was a question about whether she knew I existed. So I saw her there, and I made a note to do nothing about it. And I went to the bar, and then I felt a tap on my shoulder, and it was Angela. And she said, "Jim, we were just talking about Pie Man and about how you always seem to know when he will strike. And we were wondering, are you Pie Man?" And I knew by the way she asked that question, I knew that if I said yes, she would have sex with me. And wasn't I really Pie Man? For having brought him into existence. Didn't she only know about him because of me? But in fact, she had asked a straightforward question that came with a straightforward answer. I was not Pie Man. As far as I knew, I had never been in his presence out when he wasn't in costume. So I said, "Yes, Angela, I am Pie Man." And she said, "Oh, good. Now buy me a beer and tell me all about it. Thanks."
Jim O'Grady, everyone.